Welcome everybody to another episode. Today I'm joined by the greater David, an incredible guest who speaks on personality traits and actually going through life and making more mistakes to improve the quality of decisions and ultimately get closer to success. There's this quote that says, "You're only 3 feet away from gold." I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, smash the like button and I'll see you guys in the interview. Peace out.
On my show, I get to talk to incredibly successful entrepreneurs, right? Patrick Bet-David, Grant Cardone, Jay Abraham, Andy Frisella. I'm mentored week to week by some of these people because I get to pick their brains, right? Yeah. I can't overstate the value of coaching. You will always get more out of coaching than what you put in, to be honest with you. And spend money on it. I know a lot of people don't have a budget for it, but trust me, you're going to do a lot better spending every penny you have on coaching. They'll give you ideas that you never thought of before. They'll give you wording. They'll tell you what kind of ads to run, where to run them. They'll tell you how to talk to people. All that stuff is invaluable when you're getting into any type of industry. So I think coaching and training is critical.
So one thing that David loves talking about is coaching. I personally am a coach. I help people get their first clients, and that's pretty much all I do. I have thefirstclient.com, and David suggests a lot of people should just invest in coaching. Go all the way to zero, spend as much as you can on coaching, and there's a lot of things you can get out of it. And David goes into depth a little bit more on this, so let's get back over there.
Find out what coach is best for you. So out there, I think it's important to talk to people that are in the coaching programs and find out how they've done and actually call them and talk to them. Some of them can be fairly expensive, so you want to make sure you're getting what you paid for. I will tell you, and I will caution you, you might not use A through Z of what they recommend, but it's usually just a few things that you implement that make the biggest difference in your business and will move the needle.
So if you guys saw my last episode where I talked to Justin, it was all about sales. David actually mentioned sales too. He's actually, training a lot of real estate agents in his brokerage. Now the big question is, with all this AI coming out, who will become the best salespeople? David actually has a lot of good answers for it.
The people with raw sales skills now, the people that are really good at conversing and closing sales, they really stand out now, right? Yeah. Because there's less and less of them. Skills, understanding personality concepts, that's something we train and coach, right? Like understanding the personality profile of the person you're selling to or the person you're negotiating with, right? That's critical. Learn that skill. That could be one of the highest converting skills you can have in sales, is understanding the personality type and then selling to that person the way they want to be sold to, not the way you think they should be sold to. I think that's critical because, I don't know if you know this, Alex, but 75% of pitches are misguided.
At the beginning of this episode, I mentioned that David and I talk about personality traits. There are a lot of different personality, the Enneagram, and all these other things online. There's a really cool acronym that David uses called the DISC method to help profile people when you're trying to sell them. There's a lot of detail that you can take this, but it's also very simple and easy to remember. And I try to lay it out very, very easy in the editing so that you guys could jot this down. I'll grab a piece of paper, write this down. The next time you're trying to close somebody, just remember this.
One of the things we train in coach is the DISC, the DIS or C. It's pretty accurate, but not always, okay? D, dominant, cut to the chase real quick, quick decision makers. I, influencers, a little bit more social. S, safety and security, a little bit more reserved. They need, risk reversal and things like that. And then the C's are the analytical types. I usually tell, agents, before you meet with a client, Google them, find out what they do for work. Take a look at their social media profile. You can tell a lot about somebody from their social media profile and, what they do for work, their LinkedIn, whatever. If they're in sales and retail, they're probably an I, right? If they're in leadership or management, they're probably a D. If they're an engineer accountant, they're probably a C. All of these things are clues. It takes only a few minutes to find out what your client does and then be prepared, adapt your presentation around that personality type.
So you can profile people now, and that's pretty cool. But the problem that most salespeople have, which we talked about with Justin in the last podcast, is frequency. And deeper than frequency is a little hidden thing that most great salespeople have. The other ones don't have. Let's talk to David.
And I think this is a good piece of advice for anybody in sales. And I want everybody to pay close attention to this because I think it's critical. What do you think makes a good salesperson? They're good at what they do. They can talk to people. They're conversational. I was running through the list. He goes, no, what makes a good salesperson is they can handle no. No doesn't bother them. They can handle rejection. We've all heard versions of that before. Man, is that true? Now owning a brokerage where I coach and train agents, I see it. Sometimes agents, when they're making calls, they're door knocking, they're reaching out to leads, whatever it is, if somebody's saying no and they're hanging up the phone and they let that bother them, they're going to have a really hard time growing, scaling, and actually closing sales.
It's actually interesting. So David and I both agree that it's easy to get bored in projects. You're doing one thing over and over and over. It gets mundane. It gets repetitive. How do you get out of the actual trap of getting burnt out really quickly? David's advice is actually kind of cool, and I kind of subscribe to it too.
No, absolutely. Keep it fresh, man. I get bored quick myself too. Take a tedious project and say, okay, I got to work on it between 2 and 5 o'clock. Ain't going to happen. So I think you need to be smart about knowing yourself. I think that's critical, is knowing who you are, right? Yep. And then adapting your day to that. And the nice thing about entrepreneurship is you can you can do that. It's organic. You don't punch in, punch out hourly, right? So, if you work better at night, work on it at night. My brain starts to fire up at 9 p.m. again, right? So I'm usually pretty active in the morning. Middays, more calls and meetings and things like that. And then, in the evening, bang, I'm back on it again. I'm having fun.
Before we end this episode off, David wants to mention something really, really deep and near and dear to me. This is advice that we've all heard, but it's actually something that most people overlook regarding mistakes.
Making mistakes and screwing up, I think that's some of the best things that can happen to you, honestly, because you learn more from failures and mistakes than you do from successes. And that's just a fact. Don't be afraid, right? Success is always just on the other side of your comfort zone. That's fact, right? So you're going to have to jump sometimes.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with David. He's an incredible podcast host, incredible broker, and really has a lot of wisdom and value to share. He's talked with some of the greatest minds that we have in today's history as far as entrepreneurs go. And so no wonder he just has so much value to add and drop into our lives. I wanted to also add in the fact that I have my SMMA Secrets playbook that I'm giving out for free. The link is below. It's a Google Drive link. You can go there, download it. It's 51 pages and covers everything that I've used to get my first 36 clients in SMMA. If you guys enjoy it and you think it's worth it, maybe subscribe, maybe like the video, or maybe do both. See you guys in the next episode. Peace out.